Hello fans, welcome back to Kenny's Two Pennies for this special show. The big circus this past weekend called the NFL Draft occurred, and some of you who thought maybe I was done until August, well, fat chance. Put my face on your shirt. Buffalo decided to have 8 picks this year in the NFL Draft. They had 7 originally in all 7 rounds, but then they traded crybaby offensive tackle Jason Peters to the Philadelphia Eagles and got 2 more picks in return and a pick in next year's draft. Depending how Peters does, it could be 1st round, maybe all the way to 7th round. Who knows how he does? But then they made a trade with Dallas and Jerry Jones. So Buffalo had 8 picks in this year's NFL Draft. And now you're going to get my 2 pennies, pun intended. Let's start from the top. At the 11th pick, their first pick in the 1st round, one of their big needs was on the defensive line, especially when Aaron Schobel went down with his injury that kept him out for part of the 1st and all of the 2nd half of last year. Their pass rush suffered. They may have gotten their man. They drafted Aaron Maben out of Penn State, a great rush end who's explosively quick off of the line. But the one knock on him, he's a little undersized, 249 pounds for a defensive lineman. But the truth is, he can bulk up a little bit and still be explosively quick. Maybe like what Schobel is off the line, or maybe he could be a freak like Javon Curse. But I don't know about a freak thing. But let's hope Maben is just what the doctor ordered on that defensive line. With that pick they acquired from sending Jason Peters to Philadelphia, the 28th in the 1st round, Buffalo needed to do some little chinking on their offensive line, especially with Peters being gone. So what did they do? They, I think, maybe reached a little bit for this one, but he could work out. Eric Wood, a center from Louisville. From what I've seen on the films, Wood seems to be a solid pick. But apparently Buffalo's got plans to move him to guard. But let's hope Wood isn't going to be a bit bored with the way they plan to use him. And of course, he could saw me in half for making a comment like that. But I don't want to be planed, thank you. Well, let's hope Wood can help be the answer to Buffalo's woes on the offensive line. And Buffalo had originally 1 2nd-round pick, but then they made the trade with Dallas and Jerry Jones and got another 2nd-round pick. Another big need Buffalo needed was tight end. And although they did get Wood there in the 1st round, I kind of hoped James Laurinaitis was going to be there for them to pick. But instead, because they picked Wood, he went to St. Louis. But let's hope any Bills fans who wanted Laurinaitis didn't get laryngitis. And that would have been too bad. But with their 1st 2nd-round pick, they decided to get a nice avian guy from Oregon. By avian, I mean Jairus Byrd, a pretty darn good cornerback, and one who definitely has bloodlines to the NFL, because his father, Gil, was a pretty darn good defensive back for a long time with the Chargers in the 80s and the 90s. Gil is the defensive backs coach for the Chicago Bears. But let's take a look at this bird, shall we? This bird definitely seems to have a handle on ball hawking. He also has an eagle eye for the ball and an eagle eye for tackles. He can swoop in and tackle the ball carrier. he could fly in and intercept the pass. And this bird definitely has an eagle's eye for something. But let's hope this bird is not going to be an albatross that the Bills picked. Of course, that would make Buffalo's front office a little goony, if you ask me. But let's hope this bird can fly around. Of course, being from Oregon, everybody said when they picked bird, they probably said, everybody, duck! Alright, enough. With their second round pick, they went to the other side of Oregon. They went from the Ducks to the Beavers to Oregon State. And of course, if he was nice looking, some girl would probably say, nice beaver. Oy. Well, enough of the racy comments. But getting back to it, his name is Andrew Levitre. He was, by Pro Football Weekly standard, the #1 rated offensive guard in the draft. Levitre can definitely be a big help on the line, especially with the way they're retooling it. Could he be the one that shifted to Jason Peters' slot? Or could he maybe relieve Melvin Fowler to ship Melvin Fowler to somewhere else on the line? We'll see. Levitre seems to be a solid offensive lineman, maybe somewhat undersized, but let's hope Levitre can be another thing to help in the wake of what happened with Peters. For their 4th round pick, because they traded their 3rd round pick to Dallas, the Bills definitely addressed their tight end thing by getting a guy who had dropped all the way to that position surprisingly. Sean Nelson from Southern Mississippi. Buffalo has lacked one thing ever since Pete Metzelaars left and Jay Remersma left. A good tight end who could catch the ball. Robert Royal the last 3 years was nothing really royal about him. He rarely caught anything thrown his way, plus he was more known for blocking. But this kid here definitely looks like the deal for a pass-catching tight end. He has the soft hands and the ability to snag balls well in stride. And also he's got downfield presence too, something that was sorely lacking since Metzelaars. The one knock on him is definitely he's not really the blocking type of tight end. But you know what? Maybe we can work on that, and maybe we could get the first good tight end we've had in a while. Sean Nelson, welcome to the Bills. Maybe we could have gone after somebody like Quan Cosby of Texas, a wide receiver who's 26 years old, no relation to Bill, and who's a pretty good wide receiver. Or maybe got somebody to challenge for the backup quarterback spot. Curtis Painter might have still been there, or maybe Brian Hoyer. But instead we select 2 cornerbacks for our last 2 picks. Is something to miss there or what? Maybe the front office knows what it's doing, maybe not. But anyways, there we are, the 8 picks for Buffalo. Plus, they've also signed about 8 or 9 undrafted free agents, including one that might remind people of Jason Peters. One of his size, I think his name is Joel Bell from Furman. But maybe he might be the second coming of Jason Peters, maybe not. But of course, my response to Peters going to Philadelphia, good riddance. Some people might say we'll miss you, but we don't need a crybaby like you continuously screwing up the works. But let's see how these 8 picks pan out. Buffalo, I do give you kudos with the 5 picks, but then the last couple, I, like others, am scratching my head. Maybe they'll work out, maybe not, but we'll see. Until next time, I'm Ken Haas. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.